Alright, now that I got that out the way, let's talk about these Sony guys. And I already know I'm going to get a lot of hate, and it's funny how I'm always the champion when I'm talking about Nintendo or I'm talking about Nintendo fanboys, but the minute I direct my attention to Sony, I become the heathen. But I already know that's going to happen, so go ahead and say what you're going to say. Say what I told you you were going to say in the last video, right? Wii U fanboy, Nintendo fanboy, you're just mad. You're just mad the PS4's killed the Wii U, yada yada yada. Go ahead and say it. There you go. I did your response for you. You don't even have to type it, right? But I made a Facebook post about this, and you know, it's a video I've been wanting to do. But the reason why I've waited until this long to finally do it is because I know this video is going to be misinterpreted. It's going to happen. There's no avoiding it. But I eventually came to the point where I was like, fuck it. I know everybody's going to turn this video into everything that it is not. Right? You see what I'm saying? That's why it's taking me so long to do this video. But I'm finally coming out and I'm doing it. But Sony has not been doing well, people. And they still aren't. The point I want to make in this video, and this isn't, I'm not trying to generalize, I don't mean to generalize, this is the whole Sony fan base, but it's a whole freaking lot of them. The point I want to make, I'm telling you the point right now, and you guys are still going to miss the point and misinterpret it and just sling mud at me. The point I want to make is how these Sony guys are so concerned with Nintendo's well-being, right? And sometimes even Microsoft's well-being, and they're not even looking at their own company, who is actually the only one struggling. That is the point. You got dudes, especially go to N4G, you'll see it all the time. You got dudes talking about Nintendo's going third party, Sony should buy them. When guess what? Nintendo is actually a bigger company than Sony. And I know I just blew a lot of your guys' minds right now. I know for a lot of you guys, your world is just crashing in on you. But the facts are the facts. And like I said, I know this video is going to be misinterpreted. I know I'm already being called a Sony hater where you guys know that is far from the fucking truth. I want you to go on my channel and find every video I've done bashing Sony. Then count up every video I've done bashing Nintendo. And I want you to compare the number and get back to me. Okay. My PS3 over here that I turn on and live stream just about every day. But anyways, hilarious. Basically, the Sony fan base this not the Sony fan base, a lot of the Sony fan base this generation has been completely blind to just how bad Sony has actually been doing. They have been ignoring all of the reports, and a lot of these reporters in this community, not even this community, period, whether it be journalists or YouTubers, they don't like spreading around this news. But let me lay it out for you guys. Firstly, Sony has sold multiple headquarters buildings. Why? To get out of the debt that they are currently in. Now, it's funny how everybody says Nintendo's going to die because of the Wii U, although guess what? They turned a profit for all of 2013 despite the Wii U's low sales. But it's funny how the Nintendo's going to die because of one system struggling to get started when Nintendo is, Sony is selling buildings. Guess what Nintendo is doing? Nintendo is building buildings. But Nintendo is the ones doomed. Nintendo's doomed, but Sony is the one who had their status, right, their stocks reduced down to literal junk status. Junk status. Imagine if that article came out about Microsoft or came out about Nintendo. You would never hear the end of it. Microaxis, this was kind of recent. I did an article on this. My article was pretty much the main one everybody used, whoever reported this, the 3 people that did. But and I'm not saying this figure even means anything. Read the article yourself if you want to hear my full thoughts on it. But Microaxis predicts 79% chance Sony will go bankrupt in the next 2 years. Nintendo's chance is 22%. Microsoft's chance is 1%. If you were to switch Sony's statistic with either Nintendo or Microsoft, you would never hear the end of it. Everybody would be reporting. Tell me why, I think it was either Andrew House or Casserai, tell me why one of them said that they can't afford to fail with the PlayStation 4. Why would they say that? Why would they say they can't afford to fail with it? Isn't that kind of a line somebody says when something is, you know, when they're in a desperate situation, you know, when something is their last resort, when something, you know, is dire? You see what I'm saying? Tell me why Kaz and Yoshida keep using words such as revitalizing. Why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep on talking about revitalizing Sony? Getting Sony back on track. Why did Sony shift around management in the first place? It's just saying now, listen to all the instances I have listed to you guys. All these things that have came out. And all of you guys have turned a blind eye to it, have ignored it, have acted like it is not there, and you have focused on the other systems. You guys talk about how the Xbox brand lost Microsoft a lot of money, which is true. The Xbox brand has lost Microsoft a lot of money, but guess what? As of right now, the Xbox brand is currently worth more than the PlayStation brand. Oh, and going back to Nintendo being worth more than Sony, that's not PlayStation. That's not the gaming division. Nintendo is currently worth more than the entirety of Sony. But Nintendo is the ones doomed. So Nintendo stocks are great right now. Sony's has been reduced to junk status. Nintendo is building headquarters. Sony is selling them. Nintendo is worth more. Sony is worth less. But Nintendo is the one doomed. Nintendo is the one closest to going third party. Sony could somehow buy a company who is bigger than them. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, I know this video is going to be interpreted incorrectly. People are going to take this as a Sony bash video. This isn't about Sony. This is about the fans ignoring their struggles and claiming doom and gloom for everybody else. That's what this is about. I like Sony. I especially love Sony right now because if you guys have been watching my videos where I've been, you know, criticizing Nintendo, one thing I keep reiterating is how I could go to Twitter right now and talk to Yoshida. You see what I'm saying? Sony is open. You can talk to them. You can hit them up on Twitter. They will actually tell you, yeah, we're taking this into consideration. And a lot of the time, they will actually give in and give their fans what they want. So I especially love Sony right now because they have done a lot of changes with the PS4. I'll go ahead on the record and say this. Sony is the only ones looking out for their fans right now. Because Nintendo is so goddamn... Look, even the most hardcore Nintendo fans have to admit this. But Nintendo is very stubborn. That's a fact. No Nintendo fan can deny that. Nintendo does what Nintendo wants to do. Fact. Okay? Microsoft is only out for their wallet. You see what I'm saying? They're only out for that wallet. That's a fact. Sony is the only one who at the very least tries to cater to their fan base. You see what I'm saying? Sony is the only one who will listen, bend to what their fan base wants. Sony right now is, if any company is for the gamer right now, it is Sony. So this is not a Sony hate video, because as of right now, I freaking love Sony. Because I want Nintendo to be like Sony right now in the regard that they listen to their fans and they're open. You see what I'm saying? Not saying I want the Wii U to be a PS4. I'm saying when it comes to how they interact with their fans, I want Nintendo to be more like Sony. See what I'm saying? Like I said, the whole point of this video is how you guys, you're so blind, right? And I mean, I somewhat understand, for a lot of you understand that Sony's doing a great job with the PS4 right now, and Sony deserves it. They deserve the sales that they're getting. They sold over 4 million in the first 45 days. Great fucking job, Sony. You deserve all of that. So there's a lot of hype around the PS4 right now. There's a lot of hype for the next gen or whatever. So a lot of people are on this, Sony Nirvana, train right now. But that's simply not the case. And that's another thing. A lot of people have said that the PS4 is selling a lot to try to counter the post I made on Facebook about this video right now. This whole video was a post I made on Facebook. They're selling the PS4 at a loss. You see what I'm saying? So while the PS4 is selling great, is great, that doesn't mean, they're in the clear because the PS4 is selling. No, they have a lot of red zone to get out of, and then of course the Vita still isn't making them any money either. So they have, both their systems out right now are currently losing their money. They've lost a lot of money on TVs. They lost a lot of money on the music. They lost a lot of money off their tablets. They lost a lot of money on their cell phones, right? Sony has been bleeding money left and right. And then when people bring that up, some Sony fans like to say, well, it's not the gaming division. False. False. They have lost a lot of money off the PlayStation 3. Matter of fact, I think 2010 was the only profitable year for Sony, I think. And other than that, since the PS3 launch, loss after loss after loss after loss. They've been losing money off the gaming division for the last 7 years, people. Wake up. So this video pretty much just serves as a wake-up call to the Sony fan base. Pay attention. Yes, I love Sony. I consider myself a Sony fan, but you guys know Sony isn't my primary, company. You guys know I'm a Nintendo fan first and foremost. But I feel that if you are a fan of a company, if that is your company of choice, you of all people should be more aware of their well-being and state than anybody. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I am saying? But a lot of you guys, you're not. Because you guys are just over there thinking everything is roses and daisies with Sony. Sony's prepped to buy Nintendo because the abysmal failure that is the Wii U is going to lose Nintendo a lot of money and make it go bankrupt like Sega. Because we all know Sega went bankrupt because of one failed product, right? Everybody's busy worried about Nintendo and Microsoft and what they're doing. But Sony is the one bleeding out right now. Now this isn't me saying Sony doom and gloom. I think Sony will get together. Kaz is my nigga. Okay, Kaz is smart. He has what it takes, right? Yoshida has what it takes. Sony, I feel, can get it together. All they need to do is play their cards right, and so far, they've been doing a pretty good job minus the Vita. The Vita was a pretty bad decision making such an expensive handheld gaming console. But so far, like, Sony seems to be coming back aggressively, trying to revitalize, not my words, revitalize. If you're trying to revitalize something, that means that that thing is hurting, it's kind of dying. Sony can do it. Share this video with anybody you see in this delusion, in this alternate dimension. Share it. Show them. Because a lot of these people on YouTube, they understand that the majority of these YouTube gamers are Sony guys. So they're afraid to do a video like this. You see what I'm saying? They're afraid to pull it all out there like that. I'm not. I don't give a fuck. A lot of journalists are scared to report stuff like this. I don't give a flying fuck. So let the hate roll in. Although I've done nothing but state absolute facts this entire video. Go ahead and say I'm a Nintendo fanboy who's just bashing Sony. Although I could probably only list you 3 instances on the entirety of my channel where I've actually done a video dedicated to bashing Sony. And I can list you 50 videos where I bashed Nintendo or more. That's just a random number. Go ahead. Show me how retarded you are. That's this video. I'll see you guys later.